Hi, starting from the same point where we finished last video, just wanted to add that of course that those values should be GitHub secrets. In this video, we're gonna add automated testing to our app, so that if any developer adds any code that doesn't return exactly what we want it to, the pipeline's gonna fail and the failed code and the bug is not gonna reach to production. I'm gonna add a simple endpoint that reads a value from the URL and returns it to the user. In a real production app, it can be a value retrieved from a database or from a bucket or something like that. Open a terminal. We're going to install Jest and Supertest to do the testing. In the root of your project, create a directory, call it test, and inside of it, create a file called app.test.js. That's going to be our test file. That's the test file. We are requiring the libraries that we installed and describing a GET request to the greet endpoint. Based on how it's written, it's reasonable to say that if that's the URL, I'm gonna get hello admin. And it's also reasonable to say that if I don't provide any name, I'm gonna get a 400. And that's exactly what the tests are gonna test. If in that URL I don't get returned this exact string, then I have something wrong. Go back to deploy.yaml and I change it to include the test package.json file. On scripts, change test to Jest. Now we need to modify index.js so that our app can be tested. Change those lines to this. Open a terminal, add, commit, and push the files. And now if I go back to GitHub, I can see that my workflow is running. And I can see that test is being run before deploy. It worked. And the deploy also worked. Finished. Now let me see if my app is running. Yep. Now, what happens if I don't pass the tests? What happens if the greet endpoint doesn't return what I was expecting to? You can see that it's running. But it failed. Now if I go to my app, I can see that the new code has not been pushed. I still see the hello. And that's the end of this video, and that's how you can add automated testing to your CI/CD pipeline using GitHub Actions and Workflow Identity Federation.